What's going on, guys? This is Hit You Good, your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer, coming at you with another video. As you know, part of the reason I started this channel was to give traditionally minded gamers a place to vibe in and feel accepted in an increasingly hateful and nasty and divisive world pushed by leftist antagonists. So I hope that you agree that video games and enjoying our favorite pastime is awesome. But I tell you, standing up for the values and principles that affect us every day is more important than ever, so it's always a good thing to pause the game and survey the world around us, which is what we're going to be doing in this episode. So today, I'm discussing with you as to why I am a pro-gun gamer. Now, to be clear, I probably wouldn't even make this video if the left-wing media and the politicians didn't come out and immediately try to politicize the deaths of innocent lives, especially those of young elementary school kids. Take this piece of garbage, for instance.
Shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, you need to get his out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line.
Unfortunately, tyrants will, in the words of Rahm Emanuel, never let a crisis go to waste. And they'll use this tragedy and loss of life to push a political agenda before the bodies are even cold. It's absolutely shameful, and my prayers go out to the parents and the family members of all those victims out in Texas. It is simply a tragedy. But today, we're going to show why the anger from the left against gun owners is simply misplaced. To put it simply, private gun ownership is the reason America is still free and one of the safest countries to live in by a long shot. And there's quite a bit of statistical data to back that up as well. America is 76 in the world for murders. 76. Yeah, they don't tell you that, but we are one of the safest countries to live in by far. After the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, the Obama administration actually issued an order to study gun crime in America, and what they found was that on average, 33,560 individuals died per year from gun violence or gun-related causes. If we dig in a little bit deeper to that, we find that 61% of that was from suicides. That leaves us with a number of 13,088 individuals dying per year of gun-related causes. Now, while absolutely tragic, the CDC did go deeper and discovered that law-abiding gun owners use firearms on an average of 500,000 to 3 million times per year to stop thugs, thieves, rapists, and murderers from assaulting them or their families. Now, to be honest, I'm not real good at math here, but 500,000, 3 million sounds like an awful lot more than 13,088. We'll link that study in the description below, and you can find those numbers on pages 13 and 15 of that study. Many people are going to say that the Second Amendment was only for the militia, or that no one needs 30 rounds to kill a deer, or that quote-unquote assault rifles should be banned. So we're going to dive into some of these arguments as well and discuss, what proposals are being made by anti-gun politicians in D.C. right now. So first off, what they're looking at, just to catch you up, is a renewed push for an extremely dangerous type of gun control called red flag gun confiscation. This absolutely draconian nightmare that's seeing support from some turncoat backstabbing Republicans will allow government agents to bust in your house and seize your firearms without any due process whatsoever. So much for innocent until proven guilty, right? With red flag, all it takes is maybe your neighbor doesn't like you. Maybe they don't like your campaign signs out in front of your house, or your crazy ex, of course, hates you. So they file a claim with the police stating that you're mentally unstable or that you're dangerous to the public. This gives the police, government agents, the authority to red flag you and confiscate your firearms. And then you have to pony up the money to take them to court to get your guns back or be able to ever buy a gun again. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's absolutely wrong. Gun control only affects the law-abiding. By passing gun control, you're only disarming law-abiding citizens. Criminals do not obey laws, so when you put up a sign that outlaws the carrying of guns, like in public schools, like we've seen at many of these mass shootings, like we saw out in Texas, it doesn't deter the criminal. All it does is keep law-abiding gun owners from carrying and protecting their loved ones. Criminals don't stop at the door and say, "Oh well, we can't carry in here, it's illegal." That's dumb. That's absolutely idiotic. About 98% of all mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. And you can look that statistic up, and you're going to hear some disinformation on that because of how the left decides what they want to skew as a quote-unquote mass shooting and, change the data to make their argument look better. That's the only way they can do it. But you can take it to the bank that gun-free zones do absolutely nothing to curb violence and instead only invite criminals to attack soft targets. Unfortunately, precious targets, as we've seen this past week. Going further, leftists want to say that America has a violence problem, and I think I stated this before. They say that it's only unique to America. It only happens in America. It's the only place. It's just like we are just this cornucopia of violence and chaos. But we are 76th in the world for murders per capita. 76. We're one of the safest countries you can live in. It's a vastly safer place to live in than the majority of the rest of the world. Leftists also say, well, you just don't need to have 30-round magazines. Why do you need to have 2 AR-15s? Why do you need to have 5 AR-15s? Hell, have 10. I don't care. They say they just want to take away assault weapons. And, of course, AR-15 doesn't stand for assault rifle like they think it does. It's for Armalite rifle. But they say they just want to take away, quote-unquote, assault weapons, which is an entirely vague and indefinable term. If I have a single-shot 22 caliber bolt action hunting rifle and I whack you over the back of the head with the butt of it, guess what? It's an assault rifle, man. It's an assault rifle at that point. So in essence, an assault rifle could be whatever they say it is. There's no specifications, there's no rules. They just want to get rid of black guns that look scary and have a shoulder thing that goes up.
What a barrel shroud is? Time. I actually don't know what a barrel shroud is.
Okay, because it's in your legislation.
It's a shoulder thing that goes up.
No, it's not.
When you got little Nancy boys like this CNN reporter who claimed to get PTSD from firing a regular old AR-15 and looking like a jackass doing it, I'm surprised leftists know even how to get out of bed in the morning. So congratulations, you soy-sucking beta male. You just got outgunned by a 5-year-old, my man. How does that feel? So, we're hearing a lot of talk from these talking heads on MSNBC and CNN. They keep habitually repeating the lie all the time that we must enact background checks for firearm sales, when that's literally already a thing. You cannot legally buy a firearm from a licensed dealer without passing a background check. Now, what the commies on CNN are attempting to push, however, is law that would force a parent gifting a family heirloom to their son or daughter to have to jump through hoops and put their offspring through a background check first before transferring that ownership. Now, a lot of centrists and leftists would say, well, that's no big deal. Just go get the background check. Go get it done. Pay the fee. Take the time. If it saves one life, it's worth it. It's not a hard thing to do. But that's not what these leftists are pushing for. Not at all. They don't care about that. They don't care that your 18-year-old son or daughter can pass a background check. What they care about is this fact. It's a de facto gun registration scheme. So to be able to enforce their new background check, universal background checks, you would have to enact widespread national gun registration to be able to track if said gun owner had completed a background check for said firearm. You would have to register these guns and keep records. This would lead to, as you know, widespread gun confiscation the very next time the political opportunity presented itself to confiscate guns. They would know who had them and who had what. But the left doesn't call it that. They don't call it gun registration. They call it universal background checks. They tout the lie that anyone can go anywhere at any time and buy a gun, and that's why they need to have universal background checks, because the end of that leads to gun registration, which leads to gun confiscation. But they know it won't pass the American people if they brand it like that and they try to enact gun registration. It must be laced with secrecy and dishonesty to do so. Now, lastly, I do want to wrap up with this. A lot of people, are saying that, well, the Second Amendment is only for the militia. So, if it's just for the militia, let's dive into the text of the Second Amendment. You may think you know this, but I want you to take a listen. The Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We'll note that both the First and Fourth Amendments share similar language on this matter. They say the right of the people. It's present in both of these amendments and does not exclude anyone from those freedoms. The people means just that. The Second Amendment, likewise, isn't granting a right to militia. It's not granting a right to a free state. It's recognizing that the right to the people at large. The part many get confused about is what we call a justification clause. This is the clause that we see at the beginning of the amendment, and it's the reason the founders decided to add in language regarding the militia was to highlight exactly why this amendment was needed. It wasn't for hunting, it wasn't for sport, it wasn't even for self-protection, even though our gun rights do lend to those reasons sometimes. The number one concern as to why people had a right to arm themselves with the military equivalent equipment was a defense against a tyrannical government. So the founders felt so strongly in this that even when writing their ever-important First and Fourth Amendments, they did not include a justification clause. The Second Amendment was unique in that the founders not only wanted us to know we had a right to bear arms, but were compelled to address exactly why it was important: a guard against runaway tyrannical government. This explicitly states why we need 30-round magazines, and it ain't because the deer are coming. It's not for target shooting. It's not for hunting. It is a protection against dangerous tyrannical governments as explicitly stated in the Second Amendment. So, there you have it. I'm a gamer and I'm pro-gun, and I hope you are as well. If you learned something, please let me know below. If you are pro-gun like I am, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with your favorite all-American pro-gun, freedom-loving gamer. And leave your thoughts in the comments section below, as I do take time to respond to as many as possible. And I hope y'all have a blessed week and happy gaming.